Hello, my name is Cameron Miller, and I want to thank Writers and Books for the invitation to provide this online reading. I'm going to be reading from a collection of poems and essays coming out this summer from Unsolicited Press at Portland, Oregon. It's available, by the way, for pre-order at Unsolicited Press, Amazon, and through your local independent bookstore. This collection is entitled Cairn, as in C-A-I-R-N, those friendly little piles of stone that you might see on a hiking trail at the point where the path crosses the creek or the river, or above the tree line where there's just rocks and no place to paint a blaze, maybe out in the desert as well. The collection was written over the past 7 years, 3 years of it up in the Northeast Kingdom of Vermont, up along the border with Quebec, and then the last 4 years here in the Finger Lakes region of New York. The collection is divided into 4 sections: nature, human nature, and the sacred. The fourth being a collection of essays that really reflect on those 3 themes as well. So for this reading, I have chosen 2 poems from each section and 1 essay. So that ought to give you a good taste of what it is, and maybe even whet your thirst for more. So I'm going to begin with 2 poems from the nature section. The first one, entitled 11 Below in Vermont, was first published online in the Where I Live series from Silver Birch Press. Now, 11 Below sounds pretty cold, but it was not unusual for my late night walks with the dog in northernmost Vermont to be anywhere from 0 to 20 below, which seems cold, yes, but when it's that cold, the stars, oof, are amazing. The second poem I'm going to read from the nature section is called Chromosome Reach, and it was inspired by the birth of my first grandchild, who less than 2 years ago, who inspires a great deal. So, this is a poem entitled 11 Below in Vermont. Onyx dome over pastures of snow, trees cast shadow by starlight. Nothing moves, no flashlight, everything we need to see seen. We stop, dog and me, mesmerized by the Milky Way, brushed thin on arc of pale glitter from horizon to horizon. Even dog stares into illuminated stillness. 7 sisters over Jupiter, tip little dipper upside down, spilling light into our darkness. And then we hear it, cold, calling to us from 4 corners, half creaks, muted pops, from inside trees. Frozen moisture trapped inside wood pushes outward, stretching rigid life, demanding it change, expand. Click, tick. Dog's ears perk, head tilts. First left, then right, then up, then down. Moments unroll, sounds, dog, me, all one with snow, stippled light, piercing cold. Stillness, the voice of winter's night, lingers. I misspoke about Chromosome Reach. My next poem here is Chickadee. Again, written in northernmost Vermont, also in the winter. Chickadee. A swollen chickadee clutching wire, plump sphere of winter fat inside a puffball of feathers. She's a blowfish of the air. Why does she not freeze in the envelope of wind, now icing taunt window glass? From late Styx season all the way through the annual ice age, her song infiltrates my winter hermitage. All other singers are gone. Trees naked, earth hardened white, fields perforated with brown straw, my solitary winter cell bereft of music, if not for her. Sure, crows scraw and jays snat, pilfering winter silence with urgent noise, not music. Chickadee stays and sings. Her song is faded now, summer bravado awaiting release. Still, when the sun is warm upon the snow and sky is hopeful blue, she sings. In a world falling headlong down the chute of economic quantifiers, imprisoned within the narrows of merciless cost-benefit analysis, thin, quiet moments become rare, an endangered species inside my heart. The small, unwitting warrior, that chickadee's song, lifts me to a new, more primordial definition of value. And now these next two poems are from the human nature section. The first was written in Vermont also and reflects on a period of depression I had before moving there. The other one I wrote in Geneva, New York, sitting by our gas fireplace with the dog. It's entitled Existential Truth. But first, depression. When the soul is weary and toes curl on a heavy anchor, even going to the grocery is a final exam. Once there, if you manage to go, decisions about onions or grapes, butter or margarine feel as harsh as Hobson's choice. So many things belly the soul down as if water in a balloon, loneliness, grief, failure, remorse, each a heaviness made of emptiness. Before the balloon bursts, the mind droops to the floor, taking the body down with it. Once there, at the worst moment to decide, it's get up and live or give in and die. And this, again, poem is entitled Existential Truth. Blue-streaked tongues of yellow flame, fed by invisible gas, infiltrates real-looking wood, made of non-consumable synthetic something. The proximity of fire fills my head more than warms my body. The blonde Labrador, mixed with golden retriever, a faux breed of canine yet real and shedding presence, sleeps curled in front of the real but fake fire. This world is difficult to discern. The brilliant morning sun reaches through dirty glass, warming my face from billions of miles away. The fire 2 feet to my left is a distant breath of warmth to my barren ankles. Reality television emanates from the White House as real bodies die around the actual world for fake causes, at the command of an unreal president lambasting fake news. It is a real fire, fueled by genuine gas, whooshing through a manufactured straw of steel, sucking across hundreds of miles, only to lick these imitation logs, producing real warmth that does not truly heat much of anything. Meanwhile, existential truth, real meaning, if ever there was such a thing, seems hard to find. I studied truth many years ago, and found it among the gathered leaves of books. It escaped and remains elusive on this side of the veil, where I live with real imitations and authentic trickery and manufactured reality. The last two poems I will read are about the sacred. My father died last night, which is the first one. First appeared in 2015 in the anthology Crossroads from Inwood Indiana Press. It's about the moment my father died. The second one, My Dog and God, is a poem that pays homage to two of my closest companions, neither of whom are much for talking. My father died last night. My father died last night. His body long as a casket, gaunt as a heron, gnarly as roots, soon buried beneath the shade of a pin oak tree. My father died last night. I held his hand and watched his neck, a tiny bluish tick under paper-thin skin, suddenly melt to stillness. 92 years old, he was a river of blood. His Indiana father coursing through time to my New York children, as surely as the Wabash is a varicose vein meandering from Ohio to Illinois. My father died last night. Tomorrow the earth swallows him, smothered by the same dry, thirsty grass covering his mother and father and wife, and secretly the ashes of his old dog. My father died last night, at home in his bed by the window, his long carpentering fingers lacing mine, still larger in death than my own fingers warmed by life. And this final poem for this reading, entitled My Dog and God. My dog and God are difficult to understand. So often dog stares, a forlorn tilt of the head, eyes hopeful, yet she must know by now, so much inaction from me, she'll get nothing. I look down and wonder what she wants. Hearing no words and seeing no further gestures, I go on emptying the dishwasher or writing this poem. God wants something too, but hearing silence and not seeing so much as a cute dog face from God, I go on brushing out the toilet and grocery shopping. Look, if you guys want something, say so. Finally, this short essay entitled The Seed of Hope, which was published by the Finger Lakes Times in Geneva, New York, and was a column in my weekly series published in the Finger Lakes Times entitled Denim Spirit. This essay is called The Seeds of Hope. When the small blue flame of love crawls down the candle wick, the last glimmer of light fully within the closing lips of darkness, the despair is as close as the next breath. What keeps hope alive? When we can imagine edging toward our oldest moment, warmth receding from our fingertips and voices fading from the curvature of our ears forever, what keeps hope alive? Knowing that Earth, our island home, will one day cease spinning, and even the explosive gases of our sun become an unseen mist in frigid space, what keeps hope alive? Begin with geology, evolutionary biology, and any other light of knowledge we can shine under the blanket in order to see the beginning of life on Earth. 3.75 billion years ago, darkness was upon the face of the deep, and there was as yet no life. The waters bubbled, swirled, and churned, mire thick with chaos and fever. Then something happened. In those festering shallows, a single cell appeared. Single-celled life, bacteria, millions and billions of them. For another billion years, until the planet itself was half its current age, life consisted of single cells roiling and broiling and living within the broth of creation wherever water moved and trickled and sloshed. Then 2 single cells, among all those other single cells, cast about in the swill for a billion years, danced together and became one. They sizzled and wriggled and then slithered into 2 again. 2 brand new cells. For the first time, 2 cells had joined and become one, then reproduced into 2, and so the multiplication continued. Instead of single-celled life, it was now multi-celled life, hosting unique and varied DNA. Stunning. In the blink of eternity's eye, a sequoia tree reached into the clouds like fingers of the earth grasping for stars. Soon triceratops rumbled through thick swamps of lush green. Before a light year could dawn, a furless, upright animal harnessed fire, crafted tools, and launched the Hubble telescope. It is an indescribable magnificence, compelling awe and wonder. Seeing this whole thing unfold on screens through the magic of a computer or strolling through the best new high-tech museum of natural history, we gaze upon the incredible 4 billion year procession of life in all its spectacular diversity and imbued with mystery and wonder, and we mutter a mildly impressed, huh? We witness the unspeakable splendor of the universe exploding and unveiling its wonders before our eyes. And we drive on down the road eating French fries as if it's no big deal. When we should be trembling and shaking and making uncontrollable noises of amazement and awe, we barely notice. As the Polynesian saying goes, we ride a whale while fishing for minnows. We dare not ponder it, this astounding microbial birth of life, ignited most likely from elements brought to our planet by fragments of dead stars. To imagine we are actually stardust, that in our bodies we retain the material echo of a long dead star, should set our hair on fire. If we're honest, we cannot fully open our mind to it because it's terrifying. We who are so small, so incredibly small and fragile, are adrift in such a small boat across an ocean of stars. Alas, amazement and awe are the seeds of hope, requiring nurture and care in order to hope to grow and thrive. So have courage, court awe. Well, I hope you enjoyed this reading. I enjoyed sharing it, and I hope that you might consider pre-ordering Cairn, a book of poems and essays. Thanks very much. Good night.